You know I'm fat, you know it. America is the only country in the world where the poor people are fat and the rich people are skinny. Let that sink in for a moment. How about you? Are you fat? I don't just mean I drink a few beers every night and then eat burritos every other day fat. I mean, you get tired walking up the stairs to take a poop fat. Like this. There's a lot of famous fat people in American history. Our 27th president, William Taft, weighed more than 300 pounds and supposedly got stuck in the White House bathtub. Businessman Steve Ballmer is obese. John Goodman and Roseanne Barr made a career out of being fat, and Oprah Winfrey did too. Now this video isn't going to make fun of fat people. In fact, if you came here to leave disparaging comments and fat shame, your comments will be deleted and you'll be banned. What is fat exactly? Well, the US government defines overweight and obese depending on your height and body mass index. The average American is 5'9", so if you weigh more than 170 pounds, you might be considered a little overweight, and if you weigh more than 203 pounds, unless you're really tall, you're technically obese. But you can look at someone and tell if they're fat or not. Now, in order to determine how fat an entire state is, we just have to look at the CDC's list of which states have the most overweight people. To do that, they basically do a poll. They don't ask everyone to step on a scale. That would break the scale. So grab some Cheetos, a 2-liter of Coke, and some fast food as we visit America's fattest states. We begin our tour of the fattest states in America in the state of South Carolina. Here, 32.9%, or about 1 in 3 residents, is considered obese. To put that into perspective, our skinniest state, or state with the least number of obese residents, is Colorado, where 22.6% of residents is considered obese. That's still a lot. A large number of Americans are considered obese, so don't feel so bad, South Carolina. If you look at how America compares to the rest of the world, we definitely tip the scales in our direction, and it's not just our wallets that are fat. This chart shows the most obese countries in the world. A dozen or so tiny island nations are pretty fat, and Kuwait is too, but there we are, the fattest actual country in the world. We should be proud. The skinniest countries in the world? Eritrea and Ethiopia, where there's not a lot of food. But that doesn't really count. Afghanistan and Vietnam are the skinniest countries that have plenty of food. India and Japan are also skinny minis. So back to South Carolina. As we'll see in many of the places we're going to talk about, it's basically a poor diet that plagues folks in the Palmetto State. South Carolina also ranks in the top 10 in both diabetes rates and hypertension rates. What causes these? Basically, a poor diet and lack of exercise. We're going to have to hop in a plane to visit our next fattest state in America. We'll fly first class because why not? We're YouTube stars, right? Our flight takes us to the state of Texas. Here in the Lone Star State, 33% of residents are considered obese. Is much of that because of the delicious tacos and burritos on every corner? Perhaps that's part of it, but look at how the obesity rate has risen in Texas. In 1990, 10% of Texans were obese. People are really eating a lot more and exercising a lot less than they were 30 years ago in the state.
Did you know Texas has the 7th most overweight kids in America?
Hey Mappy, how you doing, bud? What you got there, a little snack?
I have the munchies today.
I see that. I didn't know they still made fruit roll-ups in Mr. T cereal, Mappy. You should slow down there though, fella. Mappy pointed out that nearly 1 in 5 Texas kids is obese. What the? Aren't kids playing outside and staying busy like they used to? The answer is no. No, they aren't. In fact, this chart shows that kids play outside in leisure activity for only about 23 to 26 minutes a day, likely during recess at school. But Asian kids play the most video games by far, and they're the skinniest, so you can't blame video games, mister. Alright, we're going to leave Texas and grab a snack to tide us over as we visit the next state that tips the scale even higher than Texas. That would be Kentucky, where 34.3% of people are obese. Kentucky also has the 4th highest number of residents who have high cholesterol and the 4th highest number of obese children. Maybe it's the chicken, or maybe it's the big B's. Kentucky is home to barbecue, bacon, biscuits, and bourbon. Now before, in other videos, we could look at names of people to tell if they were likely to be rich, poor, black, or white. And we couldn't find a definitive answer as to what names people have who are likely fat or skinny, but my vote for fat names are Bluto and Ursula. We don't have to travel too far to get to our next fattest state in America, so we'll take the train. Why is this thing moving so damn slow? As we detrain, we look around for some vending machines and find several in which to load up on some sugar and fat. Then, we head on off to look around Arkansas, our 7th fattest state. Here, 35% of people are in the obese column. And since 1995, Arkies are 80% fatter. What's going on here? And Arkansas continues the trend of other southern states that are on this list with a high diabetes rate. In fact, there's even a name for it. It's called the diabetes belt. You can understand why when you look at the number of people who actually exercise. Arkansas ranks 3rd in America for number of people who are physically inactive. A lot of this, Arkansas? How about this? Why don't you guys do more of this? Another problem plaguing Arkansas is diet. Arkansasers eat the 3rd least number of fruits and vegetables of all Americans. Arkansas ranks 1st in America for rice production, so maybe they're eating too many boxes of Rice Krispies?
Crackle, snap, crackle, makes the world go round.
Maybe we should rename them Fat, Crackle, and Pop. What are some other fatty foods that Arkansasers likely eat that are bad for them? Cornbread, pork jowl, yuck, and Hoppin' John, a dish made of peas, rice, and fatback are also popular dishes. What the heck? Fatback? Pork jowl? That sounds gross. Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round. Time to move on to our next fattest state in America. We could probably walk there, it's so close, but we're starting to gain a lot of weight, so it's bad for our knees. We tried to take one of those fancy electric scooters that are all the rage, but we broke it. So we'll take this. Our next stop is Louisiana. Here in the Bayou State, 36.2% of people are obese, and that doesn't even count the overweight people. Louisiana also ranks in the top 5 in America for number of residents who have diabetes, who are physically inactive, and who have high blood pressure. But hey, there's always a party, right? You can be sure that a fatty diet is to blame for many Louisianans' overweight issues, as is the large number of heavy drinkers. Or is it? If you look at which states drink the most, Louisiana isn't actually really all that high. In fact, a large part of the South drinks booze the least amount, probably due to religious reasons.
Did you know New Orleans celebrates Fat Tuesday every year?
Wow, Mappy, you're starting to get a little pudgy. What's your BMI?
Did you go?
Okay then, I think maybe you should back away from the chips. Let go, Mappy.
No, these are mine.
God, Mappy sure needs to slow his roll before he gets a few rolls on his butt. How fattening are chips? Wow, chips are the most likely food to cause weight gain. I think Mappy needs a chip intervention. Chippervention? Baby got back. Cosmo ain't got nothing. Well, we're halfway through our list of the fattest states, and we've already seen one of us has packed on some lbs. We're going to remain in the South right now as we take a cruise through Alabama.
You did a thing cuisine, you gave me a way to eat right, more satisfaction.
Alabama needs some lean cuisine, that's for sure. Here in Alabama, 36.3% of the population is considered obese, and 7 in 10 Alabamans are considered overweight. Alabama has the most diabetics in the country, with a more than 7% increase since 1995, the most of any state. Alabamans also have the highest blood pressure rates in the country too. Yikes. And the fact that Alabama has the most fast food restaurants per capita than any other state in America certainly doesn't help either. What's also interesting about Alabama is that a quarter of Alabamans can't afford food. So that means statistically 70% of the state's overweight, 25% is malnourished, and only 5% of people in Alabama aren't either overeating or undereating. Maybe the overweight people in Alabama can share some of their food with the poor people in Alabama who can't afford their own food. So it sounds like Thanksgiving in Alabama is either a feast or a famine. What other holidays are obese people likely to love besides Thanksgiving? Likely Halloween, Easter, and Valentine's Day. Hopefully for Christmas, Alabamans ask for exercise bikes. She's a brick house. Time to move on to our next fattest state in America. It's pretty far, so we'll have to fly again. We used up all of our miles on the trip to Texas, so we're gonna have to get a ticket in economy. We're going to Iowa. Iowans sure are a fat, happy bunch, at least when you look at the data. Iowa is one of the best places you can live in terms of safety and affordability. It's not necessarily the most exciting place to live, which is why many Iowans might choose to drink and eat in their spare time. Here in Iowa, 36.4% of residents are obese. Iowa also has the 5th highest rate of people dying early due to obesity-related issues. What are people in Iowa eating the most of? Well, they grow a lot of corn there, but that wouldn't make you fat. If you look at these two charts, 20% of American diets are fast food, and sugar intake has skyrocketed. And this chart shows that people aren't burning as many calories when they're working now, a sign that working at desk jobs is a big part of the problem. You can bet the lines at Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, and Hardee's are deep in Iowa. Bebops? What's that? Huh, I've never heard of bebops. Looks cool, I guess. We're gonna bebop our way to our 3rd most fattest, is that a word, state in the US, and head on over to the state of Oklahoma. Instead of the Sooner State, they should call this the Spooner State, since people are shoving food into their mouths at a high rate. A whopping 36.5% of residents are obese here. Oklahomans' waistlines have grown the fastest of any other state, just ahead of Texas. And Oklahomans eat the least number of fruits and vegetables of any other state too. There's a big reason why many Okies look like this instead of this. It's been scientifically proven that the best tasting bad foods for us are, in this order, burritos, ice cream, Reese's Pieces, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. Who wants to eat their fruits and veggies when we can eat all this shit? What's your favorite bad for you snack? Let us know in the comments below. Do fat people have fat pets? Just wondering. Now, since we're in Oklahoma, it's probably fitting that we take a Conestoga wagon to our 2nd fattest state. Whoa, girl. What's the problem, girl? We arrive in Mississippi, and just in time for dinner. That is, if they save any for us. Mississippians are 37.3% obese. And lo and behold, according to the CDC, Mississippians exercise the least amount of any other state's residents. Mississippi is also the poorest state in America. Are fat people poor? Apparently so, according to this study. Are fat people happy? Apparently so, according to this study. But why are so many fat Americans in the South? What the heck? My fingers are too fat. It's hard to type. According to Time magazine, it's the poverty in the South, the Southern fried food culture, and a lack of exercise during long, hot stretches of the year that traditionally plague Southern states. Things we've talked about in this video already.
Did you know the bloomin' onion at Outback Steakhouse has 2,000 calories?
I did not know that, Mappy, but isn't 2,000 calories what we're supposed to eat in a whole day?
Yes, it is, Nick.
Maybe you should put that thing down then, Mappy? What do you think? Okay, well, Mappy doesn't want to stop eating, so we'll just move on to our absolute fattest state in America, which is West Virginia. Here in West Virginia, the obesity rate is 38%. West Virginia is also home to the fattest city in the country, Huntington, where 4 in 10 residents are classified as obese. And despite the fact that there's mountains and nature everywhere, West Virginians exercise the 2nd least amount in America. Now, is it really just a lack of exercise that plagues states like West Virginia? No, it's not just that. Part of the problem is we're working long hours and commuting, and we don't have time to come home and cook, so we grab something on the way home or throw a bag of something in the oven. Americans are also kind of depressed, and food is one of the easiest, most acceptable, and most accessible self-soothing drug that Americans can turn to take away some of their loneliness. And of course, Americans are lazy. And as West Virginians and the rest of America tries to mind their manners at the dinner table, we're constantly bombarded with commercials and messages about bad, sugary, and fatty foods.
2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
We need to have some willpower, people. In case you're wondering, the skinniest states in America are Colorado, Hawaii, and Massachusetts. California is a close 4th. Alright, well, it's been a long day and we're tuckered, so we're just gonna crawl into bed and try to rest. That is, if the bed doesn't break underneath us. The end. Hey guys, if you learned something new or you just like this video, make sure to like it. And if you really like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get all of our videos about what it's like to live in different places in America. Peace.